Making headlines this hour, President unveils a comprehensive development agenda aimed at resolving long-standing infrastructure and public service challenges. President forwards fresh nominations to the Parliament for the vacant membership position at the Human Rights Commission of Maldives. And the government proposes a legislation that would allow state employees to remain in public service until the age of 75. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. Now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz calls for international measures to protect humanitarian workers, citing escalating threats and rising casualties in conflict zones. His remarks, issued in observance of World Humanitarian Day, underscores the critical need to ensure both the safety and operational independence of aid personnel worldwide. In a statement shared via social media, President Muiz praised the bravery of humanitarian workers serving in war-torn and disaster-stricken regions. He described their efforts as essential to the advancement of peace and justice and reaffirmed the Maldives' solidarity with those who risk their lives to deliver assistance to vulnerable populations. He drew particular attention to the situation in Gaza, Palestine, where the Maldives has voiced strong opposition to the obstruction of aid. The government has condemned the actions of the occupational Zionist state of Israel and called on international actors to exert pressure to guarantee sufficient aid access. World Humanitarian Day, observed annually on 19th August, was established by the United Nations General Assembly in 2008 to honor the victims of the 2003 bombing of the Canal Hotel in Baghdad, Iraq, which claimed the lives of 22 humanitarian workers. The day serves as a global tribute to humanitarian personnel and a call to action for their protection. This year's theme, Strengthening a Global Solidarity and Empowering Local Communities, highlights the importance of recognizing local actors not merely as recipients of aid, but as leaders in humanitarian response. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz, during an official visit to Himandu Alif Atoll, unveils a comprehensive development agenda aimed at resolving long-standing infrastructure and public service challenges. From the completion of a long-delayed school building to the inauguration of a new healthcare and sanitation facilities, the President reaffirms his administration's commitment to strengthening the island's educational, religious, health and security sectors.
Himandu marked the first stop in a wider presidential tour of Alif Atoll. President Muiz received a warm welcome upon arrival, with senior officials from the local council, government institutions and residents extending a cordial reception. President Muiz, addressing residents of Himandu, confirmed that the island school project is slated for completion within the year, with teaching expected to commence in the forthcoming academic term. The new facility, comprising 12 classrooms and a multi-purpose hall, represents a significant investment in the island's educational infrastructure. The president stated that his government is providing full support to the contractor to ensure completion within 75 days or a maximum of 3 months. President Muiz also reported that a significant percent of the construction work on Himandu's new mosque has been completed, with full delivery expected by year-end. Located near the island's harbor, the mosque is designed to accommodate 300 people, including a dedicated area for women. At the Secretariat of the Himandu Council, the President met with members of the Island Council, the Women's Development Committee, and heads of local institutions. Several of the concerns voiced during the council meeting pertained directly to healthcare services, an area the President addressed with the opening of a new extension to the Himandu Health Center. The facility now includes specialized units for public health services, tobacco cessation, and non-communicable diseases, as well as dedicated clinics for maternal and child health. President Muiz also officiated the inauguration of Himandu's newly established water and sewerage systems, addressing critical infrastructure deficits. The completed water system includes a 6.35-kilometer main pipe network, a reverse osmosis facility building, 2 RO plants, and 3 water storage tanks. Water meters have been installed in households and services are now fully operational. With basic service now in place, the administration has turned its attention to strengthening law enforcement infrastructure. The foundation stone for a new police station in Himandu was laid during the president's visit, marking the commencement of practical work on the project. As part of the tour, the president is scheduled to visit 8 islands: Toddu, Orastu, Ukulas, Mativeri, Bodufuludu, Feridu, Marlos, and Himandu.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz forwards fresh nominations to the Parliament for the vacant membership position at the Human Rights Commission of Maldives, HRCM. President Dr. Muiz on 12th August forwarded his preferred choice for the 2 member positions on HRCM out of the eligible candidates who applied following the announcement by the President's office. However, during the Parliamentary Human Rights and Agenda Committee interview stage, only Muhammad Shafiq Mamdouh had managed to clear the minimum 75% marks threshold required for it to sign off on appointments to independent institutions. As recommended by the committee, the Parliament the day before had given its green light for Shafiq's appointment, while the other nomination of Muhammad Faris Toha was rejected, following which the President has forwarded 3 new nominations to fill the remaining vacancy to the Parliament, including Ahmad Maksum, Amira Naim, and Fatmat Nafat Abdul Wahab. The HRCM comprises 5 members. The current Commission members are President Mariam Muna, Vice President Momina Wahid, members Amnat Shifat Ahmad Razak, Samau Ahmad Najib, and Ismail Habib. The 2 vacancies are open as the terms of Momina and Shifat are set to expire next month. The government has formally introduced legislation that would allow state employees to remain in public service until the age of 75, marking a significant departure from existing retirement norms and signaling a broader effort to retain institutional expertise within the civil service.
The proposed re-employment bill submitted to Parliament by Hanan Muhammad Rashid, member of Guraidu, sets out a legal framework for the continued employment of individuals aged 65 to 75. It defines eligibility criteria, procedural requirements, and operational guidelines for re-engaging both current and former state employees under a renewable annual contract system. Re-employment would be made available to current state employees who wish to extend their service beyond the age of 65. The bill also provides for the re-engagement of individuals who retired upon reaching the pensionable age, provided their departure occurred within 7 years prior to the law's enactment. Employment under this framework would be governed by annually renewable agreements. Eligible individuals may be reinstated to their previous roles or assigned to equivalent positions within the state apparatus, subject to institutional requirements and administrative discretion. In terms of compensation, the bill stipulates that salaries and benefits for re-employment personnel shall be determined by the National Pay Commission. While those re-engaged under this scheme would not receive the basic pension typically awarded at age 65, they would remain entitled to other pension funds as provided under the Pension Act. The legislation outlines specific timelines for application. Current employees intending to continue service must submit their re-employment request no later than 6 months prior to their 65th birthday. Retired individuals eligible under the bill must apply within 4 months of the law's enactment. Certain categories of public servants are explicitly excluded from the bill's scope. These include members of the armed forces, police officers, judges, and individuals appointed under the Constitution or other statutory instruments. The re-employment bill has been referred to the relevant parliamentary committee for further examination, making the next phase in its legislative trajectory.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdullah Khalil, highlights the fundamental role played by research in the advancement of societies, describing it as essential, especially for countries like the Maldives. Speaking at the inauguration of Maldives National University's MNU flagship annual conference, Teveli International Conference 2025, Minister Dr. Halil expressed that research and knowledge push the boundaries of our understanding, providing solutions to problems and helping us to navigate complexities for the future. Describing research as essential rather than a luxury for the Maldives, the minister insisted that without research, without evidence, we risk being reactive and lose the ability to gain resilience and foresight. Minister Dr. Halil expressed delight by presence of so many international participants in this year's conference, adding that their engagement enriches the dialogue, bringing global perspectives to local challenges and strengthening the bonds of collaboration between nations and institutions. He also pointed out that the incumbent government recognizes the critical role research and knowledge play in shaping the nation's future by expanding support for research grants, particularly in areas that align with national priorities: climate adaptation, sustainable tourism, digital innovation, renewable energy, and social development. According to the minister, the challenges faced are too great for any one sector or institution to solve alone, but through shared knowledge and collective effort, we can craft solutions that will sustain the nation and inspire others. Ministry of Islamic Affairs announces the government will fully sponsor imams who are selected for the Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Islamic Studies and Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Islamic Sharia programs offered by the Maldives National University MNU. The Minister of Islamic Affairs, Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Saeed, said that the government strongly encourages imams to apply for these programs, confirming that those selected will receive a full course fee coverage as well as a monthly allowance. MNU has opened applications for the Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Islamic Studies and the Doctor of Philosophy PhD in Islamic Sharia programs with the deadline for applications set to expire on 30th September. Minister Dr. Shahim highlighted that providing a PhD level education opportunities for imams is part of President Dr. Muhammad Muiz's pledge to strengthen the academic and professional standing of religious leaders in the Maldives. He also expressed gratitude to MNU for opening these advanced programs in Islamic education. The minister further noted that the government is making continuous efforts to enhance the knowledge and experience of imams. As part of these initiatives, over 100 imams have already been given training and exposure abroad during this administration. Government reintroduces a bill to Parliament proposing the consolidation of the country's two principal media regulatory bodies into a single commission in a renewed effort to overhaul the national framework for press oversight. The legislation, formally titled the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Bill, proposes the merger of the Maldives Media Council and the Maldives Broadcasting Commission under a unified authority.
The measure was submitted to Parliament by Abdul Hanan Abu Bakr, Member of Parliament for Tuladu, who previously sponsored a similar initiative known as the Media and Broadcast Commission Bill. That earlier version was withdrawn, but the current proposal reflects a sustained legislative interest in streamlining regulatory functions and reinforcing ethical standards across the media sector. According to its stated objectives, the bill is intended to advance press freedom, ensure its long-term viability, and address the spread of false information. It also seeks to establish formal guidelines for media outlets and journalists, enabling the responsible exercise of constitutionally protected rights. Under the proposed framework, a new body, the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission, would be established to assume the responsibilities of the two existing entities. In doing so, the legislation would repeal the laws governing the Maldives Media Council and print media, including newspapers and magazines. 3 would be appointed by the President, subject to parliamentary approval, Council, while 4 would be elected by media organizations. The President of the Commission would be nominated by the Head of State, again with the consent of Parliament. The Vice President would be selected internally by the Commission's members. Elections for the media elected members would be administered by the Elections Commission of Maldives. Eligibility is limited to registered news outlets, broadcasters, or journalists affiliated with such entities, provided they have maintained registration for a minimum of 5 years. For broadcasters, the Commission would be authorized to issue rectification orders in response to violations. Repeated infractions could result in fines of up to 10% of the broadcaster's revenue from the preceding fiscal year. In cases of persistent non-compliance, the Commission would be empowered to petition the courts for the revocation of broadcasting licenses. For print media, including newspapers and magazines, repeated ethical breaches could incur fines ranging from $324.27 to $6,485.15 The Commission would also have the authority to suspend a publication's registration pending resolution of a case. Continued violations could prompt the Commission to seek cancellation of registration through judicial channels. Additionally, failure to rectify an issue within the time frame specified by the Commission could result in fines between $324.27 and $1,621.29. The bill is currently under parliamentary review.
The government awards the project to develop a fitness and recreation centers, FRCs, in 63 different islands across the country to the Maldives Airports Company Limited, MSCL. The Minister of Sports, Fitness and Recreation, Abdullah Rafiu, signed the agreement on behalf of the government, while the CEO and Managing Director of MSCL, Ibrahim Sharif Muhammad, signed for the state-owned firm in the presence of senior government officials and members of parliament, underscoring the program's political and institutional significance. The project, announced during a signing ceremony at Miruma, reflects the administration's commitment to ensuring that every inhabited island is equipped with fitness and recreation facilities by the end of 2026. The initiative is designed to expand access to fitness infrastructure and promote public health across the country, aligning with national goals for preventative care and community well-being. In line with this vision, the government has so far awarded contracts to government-owned and private companies to develop 87 FRCs across the Maldives. Of these, 3 FRCs have already been completed, with 28 projects currently underway. In addition, the government had said the contract phase for the establishment of 43 FRCs is underway, and another 21 FRCs will be awarded this year and the next. The government formally mandates the Housing Development Corporation, HDC, to construct outdoor gymnasiums across 71 islands, advancing a central component of President Dr. Mohamed Muiz's national fitness agenda. The initiative, announced during a signing ceremony at Miruma, reflects the administration's commitment to ensuring that every inhabited island is equipped with outdoor fitness facilities by the end of 2026. Senior officials from the Ministry of Sports fit programs political and institutional significance. Abdullah Rafiu, Minister of Sports, Fitness and Recreation, signed the agreement of the ministry. Representing HDC, was 21 island allocation forms part of a broader directive under which state-owned enterprises have been tasked. The initiative is designed to expand access to fitness infrastructure and promote public health across the country, aligning with national goals for representative care and community well-being. In parallel with the government-led efforts, 7 outdoor gym projects are currently under development by private sector entities. The administration has also announced plans to commission an additional 41 facilities within the current and forthcoming year, reinforcing its commitment to equitable infrastructure development and sustained investment in recreational resources. SoftBank Group is taking a $2 billion equity stake in Intel. The two companies assist amid a ramp-up in efforts to provide financial support to the struggling U.S. chip maker.
The joint statement by the two companies said that the Japanese investment company will pay $23 per share for Intel common stock. According to LSEG data, SoftBank would become the sixth largest investor in Intel. An Intel spokesperson said SoftBank's investment will come via a primary issuance of common stock by Intel and, based on the U.S. company's market capitalization at close of trading on Monday, would represent an equity stake of just under 2%. Media has reported earlier that the U.S. government is in talks to take a 10% stake in Intel. This comes after U.S. President Donald Trump called for the resignation of the company's CEO, Lip-Bu Tan, earlier this month. Media reports had said last week that the U.S. government may buy a stake in Intel after a meeting between Tan and Trump that was sparked by the U.S. president's demand for the Intel chief's resignation over his ties to Chinese firms. SoftBank declined to provide more details on the Intel investment when asked to comment. It would be the latest in the Japanese company's run of mammoth investment announcements in 2025, which include committing $30 billion to ChatGPT maker OpenAI, as well as leading the finance for Stargate, a $500 billion data center project in the U.S.
President Donald Trump says that the United States would help Europe in providing security for Ukraine as part of any deal to end Russia's war in Ukraine, as he and President Volodymyr Zelensky began a hastily arranged White House meeting to discuss a path to peace.
It's an honor.
Donald Trump suggested to reporters that he no longer believed reaching a ceasefire was a necessary prerequisite for striking a peace agreement, backing a position staked out by Russian President Vladimir Putin and opposed by Zelensky and most European leaders. Zelensky was also backed by the leaders of Britain, Germany, France, Italy, Finland, the European Union, and NATO, who traveled to Washington to demonstrate solidarity with Ukraine and push for strong security guarantees for the country in any post-war settlement.
But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
Following their one-on-one discussion, Trump and Zelensky made a joint appearance with the European leaders ahead of planned multilateral talks. Zelensky described the one-on-one discussion as very good and said they had spoken about the importance of U.S. security guarantees for Ukraine.
We supported the idea of the United States, of personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
Trump said he and Zelensky had covered a lot of territory during their discussion. He also again proposed a three-way summit among Putin, Zelensky, and himself aimed at reaching a peace deal, which Zelensky said he would support. Putin has not publicly committed to such a meeting, though Trump said repeatedly that he believes Putin wants to end the war. Trump said he had spoken to Putin and would call him after the talks as well.
Al-Ittihad captain Karim Benzema downplays suggestions that a Saudi Super Cup semi-final in Hong Kong will be defined by Cristiano Ronaldo's presence, insisting the focus should be on the teams rather than individual stars.
Benzema told reporters ahead of Al-Ittihad's match against Al Nassr, quote, "It's not about facing Cristiano Ronaldo, it's a match between two clubs," unquote. The Saudi Super Cup is contested by the winners and runners-up of the Kings Cup and Saudi Pro League. Al Hilal finished second in the 2024-25 Pro League behind Al-Ittihad, but pulled out of the tournament, citing player fatigue following their Club World Cup campaign. They have been replaced by AFC Champions League winners Al Ahly. Since Al Ittihad won the Pro League and Kings Cup, the extra Super Cup spot was awarded to Al Nassr, the third-place team in the league. For Al Nassr, the match will be an opportunity to hand João Felix his debut, who joined the club this summer. The Portuguese forward said he was excited to begin his new chapter, but admitted his thoughts were also with close friend and former national teammate Diogo Jota, who died in a car crash last month.
The Jalisco State Police adds 3 Tesla Cybertrucks to its patrol fleet, aiming to utilize these vehicles as mobile intelligence units equipped with advanced technology to bolster security efforts across the state ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Back in May, Jalisco's Governor Pablo Lemus defended the government investment of $60 million to acquire over 690 vehicles for the state security department, including 3 Tesla Cybertrucks. According to a Jalisco government statement, the Cybertrucks are leased for 36 months following a public bidding process. The 3 Tesla Cybertrucks are expected to be deployed as mobile units for intelligence operations, searches, arrests, criminal containment, and security tasks across the state's 12 regions. The vehicles, connected to the internet via Starlink, allow officers to access criminal databases even in areas lacking phone or internet coverage. Additionally, the Cybertrucks feature scanners to identify stolen vehicles and connectivity with the government's video surveillance system. The deployment is part of Jalisco's strategy to combat insecurity in the region and enhance monitoring capabilities in Guadalajara ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.